Sean, shut that baby up.
You boy, that's the sound of your future.
What? What are you talking about?
Well, technically, I guess it's something you already lived through since, you are 41.
No, I thought you were 41. I'm
Oh,
36.
you're 36. I'm sorry. I have
What?
memory problems.
Yeah, you're getting dementia already. Jesus.
um, Children.
Are you talking to the audience?
No, we're going to be talking about children. Although I'm sure we do have some children who are listeners.
Hopefully not.
I can think of one, but
Yeah. Well, he's not really a child.
technically under the law he is.
Under
So,
the law. But we don't care about the law here.
well, let's not say that. Do you want kids in your future?
How far in the future are we talking about?
Do you see yourself having a kid by the time you're 30?
Maybe.
Ooh.
That's a maybe. Um, well, let me dive right into this. Of course, when I was a kid, I thought like it'd be cool to have kids, right? Um, of course, now I think a kid's one of the last things I want. Um, not, I got different reasons. Some are better than others. One is I'm not ready to have a kid because, I feel like I am still a kid.
I still
Um,
feel that way too.
Two, well, I guess it's kind of is the same as the first one, but I'm not responsible enough to have a kid yet. And three, I just don't feel like having a kid.
Um, I kind of feel like an oversized child right now. So if I, somehow, like it happens magically, but if I were to get pregnant at this age, like I really do not know what I would do.
Um, I imagine it would be scarier for a woman to have a child, of course, um, because you go through the whole process. But a man, we just kind of like do the business. Oh, lady's pregnant. Oh, we're the
Well,
dad. Yeah,
yeah,
Um,
and I feel like I've talked about this before that I do have younger siblings who one is a literal toddler. So I do know what it's like to take care of kids, but it's also not the same thing as being a parent, even though I am around them all day. Like I do see the responsibility of like being the oldest kid and taking care of them, but it's like I still don't know what it's like to be a parent, you know.
hmm And unfortunately, there's many people that have to take care of their siblings as when they're young. And of course, there's also teen moms who, have birth. Um, I remember in middle school, there was a seventh grader who had a child. And of course, it's like even younger, unfortunately. Um, but nowadays, most of the teen moms don't really actually take care of the child. Usually, a parent or grandmother takes the responsibility, which is unfortunate in its own way. And it's understandable, and at the same time, it's kind of like, come on, you had this kid, you got to take responsibility. Um,
Yeah.
but of course, I'm talking out of my ass because I have no clue on how life would be having a child as a young adult.
Yeah, I'm also just basing this off of like reality shows where they always make the teen mom to be like so careless and reckless and immature, but that also is like reality TV.
hmm well, most teenagers are careless and reckless. And of course, if you're having a child, most likely you are careless and reckless. No offense to any moms out there. That's usually how it's happened with people having fun.
Um, yeah, I mean accidents do happen and other things, but I mean we're not talking about that.
Yeah, yeah.
But not making smart decisions, and I feel like that's a whole other conversation about like teenagers
Having
doing.
kids or doing that. But people that are already married couples, they have children and sometimes they're not ready. Having a child is a very difficult thing, and it's a big um, financial investment because that's what a child is. It's a investment.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what, you can never really be ready as much as you think you are. Like you have the responsibility of a whole other being.
Hmm. I mean, like it's very scary knowing that a whole person depends on you for life. That's terrifying in my brain.
But yes, like I think about how my mom got married when she was 20 and then had me at 23. Like I can't. Of course, when I was younger, I was like, "Oh my gosh, 20 is so old." But now that I'm getting to that point, I'm like, "Oh gosh, that is so young. How did you have a kid?"
My mom had me at 20, and she was, I think I've talked about the story, but yeah. Um, I mean, our great grandmother had us when she was young. Do you know how old she was at the time?
I do not.
I may be wrong, but she might have been 18, maybe even younger. So don't quote me on that, but I think she was 18 when she had our uncle. And of course she had, I'm not sure how the pattern went, but I think she had all the uncles and then the daughters, or was it like a mixed bag?
It was back and
Back
forth.
and forth. Because our grandmother had six children. She had three boys, three girls. And so we have a big family, of course. And
I was asking my mom like how's she gonna do it, with three three other kids, and she was like, "Well, how did Grandma do it with six kids?" And I was like, "Oh my God."
uh-huh. Wait, so is your mom trying to go for the family record?
Oh, I hope
Uh,
not. Hopefully this
it
this is it.
it seems like all our family members are trying to reach that record. Our uncle and our aunts, they all have multiple kids.
I always tell my friends like, "Oh, I have like 30 cousins," and they're like, "What?"
It's
It's because
it's true.
people don't stop having
I
kids.
know. I mean, we're just a loving family.
Oh yes,
Um,
but
but you gotta think about it, like food, clothing, all of that. I mean, and multiple children. That's a hard life to live.
I know, and my dad jokes about like how much it costs to raise me and how much it's still costing him. And I don't like he says it as a joke, but it's also like kind of makes me does it does make me feel sad, even though like it's obviously their responsibility. But
It's not your fault, but that you were born. Um,
yeah, I mean it wasn't, but it's also like you don't think about that until you grow up.
yes, yes,
Like all the things your parents had to do to sacrifice for you.
absolutely. Because think about it, I have my own life right here, and I would have to drop all of that, all of what I'm doing right now to raise a child. Um, because that's just what you have to do, I feel like. Like you have to accommodate to that child.
Yeah, there's this quote from Lady Bird, a movie,
Hmm.
and she says, "Give me a number for how much it costs to raise me, and I'm going to get older and make a lot of money and write you a check for what I owe you so that I never have to speak to you again." And it makes me cry. Oh, but that's kind of unrelated, but
Yeah, my my mom jokes about how much it costs to raise a child, and apparently it costs like millions of dollars or something like that, just for one child, basically. Remind you. Um, but think, yeah, I
I
mean, like
mean, babies.
babies, I know. Yeah, when you talk about babies, I mean, they're loud, they make lots of no they make messes everywhere.
I was thinking more like, okay, diapers, formula,
Um, Doctor visits, because it's important for a baby.
unless you're crazy and anti-vaccine.
That's another subject.
We'll get there one day.
One day, maybe even literally, maybe our partner is an anti-vaxxer. You wouldn't know. Uh,
Our partner.
well, if you're gonna have a child, you probably need a partner.
Well, would you ever want to raise a kid by yourself, or do you want to get married and then have one?
Life is very unexpected, you know. Um, Many are single parents out there.
Hold on. Can you please go? It's late. Go to sleep. Why aren't you in bed?
Shut up, dummy.
Continue.
Life is unexpected,
Life really is unexpected.
and there are many single parents out there. So you can never really prepare. But if I had the option, yes, I would happily marry and have a child. And I wouldn't go right head first, you know. I would dip my toe into it and broach the.
How do you dip your toe?
Well, I'll teach you. No. um, no, okay. Like you, so you have a partner, of course, and you can't just, you know, expect them also to want to have a child. And if they do, excellent. But if they're unwilling or sometimes even unable, you might have to make decisions. But back to dipping my toe into that. I'll, you know, talk with my partner and let's say they're hesitant to have a child.
Well, I think that's something you also discuss before you get married.
That's true. But it becomes more prominent after you're married because, like, once you're married, where do you go from there? You know what I'm saying? Uh,
The next stage of life.
is to make life.
Oh, isn't that like, so crazy though? Like a thing is inside of you, but
Well, not me.
okay. inside inside of me potentially.
Aside a woman, yes.
Not all women.
Not all women.
Some men.
If you go that way, that's another subject.
Anyway.
You're making things awkward, cuz.
I keep bringing up other topics.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we do. We just talk about random stuff on here. Um, but what's your like, how do when you, damn it, when do you feel like you're ready to have a child?
My plan was okay, I'm gonna try to get some kind of career in my 20s. In my 30s, I'm just gonna chill. And then maybe by my 40s, I'll want to get married and have a kid.
It sounds like a stable plan. Very stable. Let's say the perfect person just came by right now. I mean, would you start dating them? Would you marry them? I mean, you know,
Right now at this age,
right now, like say the perfect man, woman came right now into your room and you found them. Like, what would you do? No?
no.
That's a that's a very hard pass for me. I mean, if I found the perfect person right now, like I walked down the street and I found them, it'd be very hard for me to say no.
I mean, it's just we are so young. You know, maybe the perfect person for me right now isn't going to be perfect for me by the time I would want to have a kid.
Well, that's the thing. They're perfect, so it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. They're perfect for you. They're the right fit.
But we're constantly changing. So
This is
would they evolve with us too?
yes, this is like a dream scenario, not like actual reality. Uh,
Well, I like to be technical about
All right,
things.
let me make up another one. Let's say you're 30, and right now in your plan you want to be chilling, but let's say a coworker, you know, happens to catch your eye. Like, would you pursue them?
Okay, in that case, yes.
And
10 years makes a
would
difference.
you sleep with them?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we're gonna have a kid.
There's always the risk. I mean, if you have all the preventives, birth control,
Well,
that little needle that girls put in their arm, um,
needle.
whatever it's called, condoms, like they don't necessarily work. It is always a chance because here's a little lesson: when a man ejaculates in a woman, millions of billions of little sperm cells are released, and it's a race to get to the egg. It's like a great
And one of them swims up.
Yes, it's like a great Easter egg hunt, and they all go looking for an egg.
Please never become a sex ed teacher.
And sometimes it's more than one egg. What if you happen to have twins or triplets? You know,
Oh.
I mean, there's always the possibility.
Well, isn't triplets like the same egg?
Um, I've heard different things. So either the woman produces two, and it just so happens that two sperms, make it at the same time, or two sperms go into one egg, and so there's too many um, chromosomes, and so it duplicates, and the one egg becomes two. I'm not a technical expert, but that's what I've heard.
Or maybe fraternal and identical makes a difference.
A fraternal is when they're just twins, but they don't look alike, right? And
Yeah.
identical is when they do look alike.
hmm
Um, like what is the difference? Do you know? Either than what we just said.
I'm not sure. But if that were to come down to it, I think maybe if I was 30, I would keep the kid.
And that's a good idea.
But in my 20s, I feel like I wouldn't even try to do anything with that.
Would you consider, plan B?
Yeah, I don't think that's a big deal.
Yeah, we've talked about it. What's it called? What was I gonna say? There's times where a woman sleeps with multiple men, and they may have twins of two different.
What?
Yes, no, I'm serious. There's stories out there on Caso Cerrado that a woman sleeps
Oh
with,
my
like, say, a black man, and then sleeps with a Mexican man, and so one child becomes African American, the other one becomes Mexican, and that's happened before. Uh,
How is that humanly possible?
well, when two men ejaculate in one woman, and she happens to have multiple eggs, or maybe she's just very fertile or something. I don't know, my dude. Something just happens, and
So two different sperms and she's pregnant at the same time.
yes, with two different men's babies. Um, and she has two children. She has twins. They just happen to be different skin colors. So I think that goes to show that we're all brothers and sisters, no matter your color.
I think that I've never heard of this before.
Look it up, my dude. Look it up. Maybe where would you look it up? Because you might run into pornography if you.
Oh my god.
Um, w- how would you search that up? Um, tw
Wait, with identical twins, one egg is fertilized by one sperm, and the embryo splits at some later stage to become two. Is it possible for twins to have different fathers in a phenomenon called heteroparental? I'm not gonna read that. Let me read it. It is possible for twins to have different fathers. So you're right, it is real.
I see now on Caso Cerrado, my dude.
That show's a mess.
It is. There's this one episode. Here's a little rant where a man was eating roosters like live, and the neighbors were all like, disturbed by this. And so he brought a rooster on the show, and he ate the head of the rooster on the show. And
Oh my
he had
god.
another one. He was trying to offer it to Ana Polo to eat herself. Uh, so yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, that show reminds me of Grandma because she always had it on.
Yeah. They stopped the show actually
For
for
realsies?
realsies.
Why?
She wanted to direct movies instead.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. What's it?
Um,
Yeah.
moving on from that.
Well, there's like different shows, like what's that one? Jerry Springer, where you
Oh,
are not the father, stuff like that goes on.
Maury.
Murray, what's the other one where he used to be a bouncer, a security guard on Jerry Springer. He's a big
Oh,
muscle
I don't
dude.
know.
Ah, man, that's a good one too. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, this children are like in our culture, of course. There's like Disney, that's for children. They have like little things for children. Um, there's what's it called? Toys, of course. Like our society is built around family, and family include.
Commercialism.
Yeah, well, commercialism is not just for children. It's for cars, houses, clothing. Commercialism includes everything. It's just that commercialism expands on children too because children, your parents are willing to buy children what they want because they're their kids. Um,
And that's another topic that we will get to.
yeah, we could. Um, but yeah, our society is built around family, and our children, of course, is an extension of the family. So that's, an important thing to have a stable house. Because, we've talked about different things about mental health and stuff, and that can expand from a bad household where a parent is abusive or doesn't contribute to the child's well-being. And that's how, you know, people become not so good people.
Yeah, and I feel like centering our lives around family and having kids, like I feel like a lot of women are shamed into not into having kids. Like, oh, when are you gonna have kids? That's always a question. And if you say, oh, I don't want any, they're like, oh, you'll change your mind. Like,
I mean, I think that's something that women do because I don't know any man that goes up to a woman and says, "Hey, when you're gonna have kids?" You know, that's a little creepy. Um,
no, it is something that women do to other women.
I guess because like I don't want to say it, but I feel like it's expected out of women to have children. Um, that's why women ask, like, say your aunt is like asking you, like, "Oh, are you gonna have kids? Like, when are you gonna have kids?" Um, because you're part of the family, and the way to carry on your lineage is by having children. Um,
And yeah, that's why I feel like, it shouldn't be expected or you shouldn't feel shame if you somehow, end the family bloodline. Like,
um, well, it goes for men as in like my aunts or people ask me like, "Oh, you have a girlfriend or something?" Because of course, if I have a girlfriend, that means I have a girl that I could possibly have children with. Um, it's just expected, for people to have kids one day. Doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, I suppose.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. That's another thing, like just the typical traditional life, you go to college, you get a job, you marry someone, you have a kid, and you raise them until we all die.
That's what some people would say is the American dream. And of course, not many people follow that. They have their own dreams and their own aspirations. We've talked about all these things. College, I'm not very interested myself personally. Um,
I mean,
I
yeah.
I could definitely see myself being married, but of course, maybe that would change. Maybe I would never want to be married. Maybe I'm just content of having a girlfriend and having kids, because that's also another thing. Couples are couples without being married, and they have children. That's a very common thing. Um, and that might happen. That may not even happen. I may never even have children of my own. I could adopt. There's many different things that could happen.
We never know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I could be hit by a car tomorrow.
Baby, I'm yours. Baby, I'm yours. And I'll be yours until the stars fall from the sky.